All right, here we are with that 3-year-old warm blood stud horse. We're about a month into training, and he's coming along all right. There's a lot of pieces of him that are very difficult to work with, but that's not really abnormal. You know, we prepped him and did a little bit of groundwork, a little desensitizing, you know, trying to ignore certain things about, you know, the grabbing things with his mouth and grabbing your halter, grabbing your reins, doing different things. And what we're trying to establish here, because he's so lazy, is, like I explained in the beginning, the last session, we're trying to establish work ethic, okay, and expectations. He's figuring things out, how to get off your leg. I do not ride kick horses. A light squeeze, a little kiss, he has to step off of your leg. From forward impulsion to lateral movements. And he's got to understand that from the beginning. So he also needs to develop controlled forward energy. He's got to walk, trot, canter on a loose rein without, you know, worrying about direction. So she'll throw him away and put him completely on the buckle, so to speak, and just direct him where she needs to and try to build some work ethic. Can he trot around and stay in gear without breaking gait? If you don't have good forward impulsion where he's willing to go forward, any contact with him is just a negativity. You're just, you know, you're just trying to row upstream. You have to get good forward energy first and develop some consistency. And while he's doing this, he's learning balance. He's learning cadence. He's learning how to willingly go forward and stand up straight, and he'll find that relief from doing what you ask him to do. And she'll transition him down and let him walk out of it. She may let him stand a moment, but he needs to be able to respond with moving his feet without protesting or getting that, and get that resistance out of him. While you're working on your lateral softness and then your vertical softness. Once we got good forward impulsion established and you have softness, now you can start making softer contact and pick up and be willing to start directing and continue everything forward. Everything has to stay in motion. So just at this point, we need him to just step off, walk off, and step off your leg and go forward. You know, in the beginning, this horse, he'd want a cow kick out. He would twist in half and kick up in the air. He'd stand on his front feet and kick over his head. Legs on, light squeeze, kiss, 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 tap, 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 bigger, 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 until he moves his feet. See how that resistance? He does not, then there finally he gives in. He goes forward. And there's the relief. But he still has that resistance, and he's going to protest there until he just gives that up as a bad job, okay? And like I said, he develops some work ethic. And get his transmission, so to speak, good, okay? He's got to have a good first, second, and third gear and stay in gear until I tell him to break gait. He has to wait on her. He's not allowed to break to a walk, and he's not allowed to step into a canter after you start getting initial phases. So she's just cruising around, and he starts to get better balance. He's developing hip strength, stifle strength, back strength, which makes everything easier later on. In the beginning, this is kind of difficult for him, and it's uncomfortable, it sucks. But once they start getting used to it and they do it, the more they do it, the better they get at it. So making sure your foundation is in place. Then she can kiss to him, say, and he stepped right off into a canter. And she's letting him cruise around on a loose rein. As long as he's not diving, she's not going to micromanage his direction. Just try to keep forward energy. And get him in the habit of getting the cork out of his ass and going somewhere without breaking gait or building speed and running off. Which you can see, he'll canter around pretty comfortably on a loose rein without building speed. His deal is the work ethic, and there's the reward right there. She said, take a break a second, have a cigarette, have a beer, and she'll give him about 15, 20 seconds. And sometimes she'll walk him out of that so he doesn't get used to just stopping, standing still, and doing nothing. Because what happens is his feet will grow roots there, then he won't want to move at all. See, like right here, she's having to kiss him up and tap him up. He just doesn't want to just step off her leg. So this is a continual building process as you go through each stage to get everything in place for more refined movements and communication. But everything has to be in place first and set up for success, not failure. She's going to step him off again, ask him to trot, and step right into a canter again. And it gets more expectations. Once he's learning to step off of that leg, when he puts energy in his feet, she hot releases that leg. So he knows exactly how fast to go. And there, and step into that canter. And just cruise around here. We're going to take a break in a moment. You don't have to work that hard. It's the consistency. It's the daily work. So he gets, like I said, he gets some work ethic. You know, he's kind of been on welfare his whole life, and, you know, the fat kid on the couch playing video games. So he's not really interested in somebody dictating and telling him what to do with his feet, when to do it, and how fast to do it. Plus the fact that he's a stud colt. If you don't do things right, they can get resentful really quick on you. And then they get defensive. So she's not going to let him break gait. She'll make sure he canters off quietly, and she will tell him, okay, come back to me. He is not allowed to make decisions there. See, she was going to give him a break, and he broke gait. She said, no, not acceptable. You wait on me, and I'll tell you when to come down here. She stopped riding big there and see his feet come right back to her. So without that energy, there, she's going to leave him alone. Let him untrack his feet there and let him walk out, and he can relax doing that, while he's continuing some kind of forward energy. So I hope this gives you an idea, and I explained enough of what you're looking at anyway, to get an idea of the progression and see where we're at and what he's doing and how things progress along. And you notice he's not trying to grab reins. He's not flicking his head big and, you know, wanting to grab her feet and wanting to do this and that as much. He's more looking for that relief from pressure. Okay, he just wants to, he's happy he's just being left alone right there. He's acknowledging relief. And the last thing he did was moved his feet. He canted around, and that's how he got this. So he starts to anticipate, well, after we canter around, we're going to sit and take a break. Yeah, probably. So he knows what's going to happen, so he's more willing to do it because he knows what's going to happen. So I hope that gives you some thoughts and some insight, and we'll, a couple weeks, we'll show you the progress, and we'll go from there to the next one.